Awesome. Great. Well, I'm so excited to be here with Cheryl Mills Knight. Just such an eloquent and like thoughtful leader. So I think we're going to have a really awesome session. So thanks everyone for joining us today. By way of just introduction, of myself, I'm the moderator. My name is Karwowski. I'm the CEO of Obviously. We're an influencer marketing agency working with the world's biggest and best brands. And I am so excited to talk to you today, Cheryl. Do you want to just maybe give a little intro to yourself before we really dive in?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And yes, May, it's nice to see you again. Yes, my name is Cheryl Mills Knight, and I'm the SVP of Brand and Culture at Kendra Scott. We are a jewelry lifestyle brand based out of Austin, Texas, with over 120 stores nationwide, omni-channel business, growing and growing. 20 years thus far, with a bold, bright future ahead of us.
That's awesome. That's so great to hear. Yeah, so you've had such a quite impressive career with Kendra Scott. I mean, you're really on the founding team. Could you kind of walk us through that growth and trajectory of the company?
Yes. So I've been with the brand for over 17 years. I was the first marketing hire in 2005. We were a wholesale only business for the first 8 years. So I wore many hats. I did everything from graphic design, copywriting, photography, PR support, brand and brand building, all of the things that you do as a small company. And like I said, we were wholesale only until 2010. And then we launched our e-com business in spring of 2010 with our first retail store opening in the winter of 2010. So 2010 was a huge year for us. I was responsible for the e-com business up until it hit $3 million in lifetime sales. So again, wore many hats. As we know too, the social media revolution occurred during that time as well. So, I wore a lot of hats, as well as several of our early members did. And through the early years, we were developing who we are as a brand, our brand essence, establishing our core values. And that's how my job has become what it is today.
That's awesome. And so you're currently the SVP of Brand and Culture. What does that role mean to you?
Well, it means it's a really important role. I'm actually quite honored to have this role. And really, my job is to, in essence, bring our core values of family, fashion, and philanthropy to life, both internally for our employees, and of course, bring it to life externally for our customers and their communities. My role is to authenticate the brand, and really ensure integration across the organization, and ensure that authenticity, our brand voice, our brand heart is scalable as we grow and evolve as the world changes.
That's awesome. And so what what does the day in the life look like? If we're kind of some of the core functions of because that's a big task. You guys are scaling really.
It is a big task. I mean, honestly, I have one foot in the HR department, our people and culture, and really bringing to life internally, not only through leadership skills and developments and programmatics, but also fun events and cultural events that bring together our leadership team with our people, and our people integrating. We love to have a lot of fun. In fact, I help to lead a fun committee that brings to life just a real thoughtful connection and fun cultural events across the organization. But then I also, and I would say one of my first loves is really in the marketing department. And so it's bringing to life, working together with a very dynamic team, with our creative services team and our brand marketing team and our PR team and our e-com digital team, to bring to life our awesome products and also experiences to our customers and meet them wherever they are.
Oh, that's so great. So what sort of KPIs are so big across marketing and just, in successful companies. What are some metrics that you look at to really say like, okay, hey, we're really doing a good job with brand and culture here at Kendra Scott?
Well, so when you think about brand and culture, and I'd love to actually philosophically share with you how we think about brand and culture. Our brand is our culture, and our culture is our brand. And when I say that, it's all about human connection and human experience, and making connection tangible and real and purposeful, and then letting that allow the transactions to follow. So we can get into a lot of different tactics about how do we bring that to life. And I'm happy to dive deeper into this because it's a big, broad statement, but
definitely.
it's metrics. I mean, of course, sales help too, and that's fine. But I also think that it's even more important talking about retention, also talking about how we engage with our customers through our events in store. That is another really powerful metric for us because it also helps to create that integrity and loyalty with our customers when we really connect with them in their communities. So we've got a really robust retail marketing experience through our experiences in our stores.
You know, one thing I was really struck by when we first talked was just your ability to kind of brand different concepts, like, brand cultural concepts within the company. And I think that just makes things so clear within a team. It's like, oh, that's what we do. Like, that's what we do. And I especially love the one about like the family rule. If you could, if you could really explain that to the audience, I feel like that's just like such a great one.
Well, so just to take one step back, just a touch, our North Star are our core pillars, and they are defined as our core values of family, fashion, and philanthropy. Family comes first at Kendra Scott. So in a lot of ways, it wasn't put together in a gorgeous brand statement. I came on for, and we were just really trying to figure things out. We were iterating, we were trying things out, but we were living a family first, really small company culture. It was, we had everything from really celebratory. I mean, I've been through everything from births and deaths and weddings and divorces and celebrations and tears and all of the things with this core group of women that started the business. So when we wanted to open up our store, again, this is 8 years into being a small women-owned, women-run group of people. Just, we wanted to do it differently. And so we looked to ourselves and like, well, what's most important? And it was our sisterhood that we had developed. How can we bring this connection to our customer, whoever walks in the door, and treat them with a level of respect and love that was unmatched out in the retail world? So, Kendra's like, I've already done retail. I don't want to do retail. She had a business when she started when she was 19 years old, the Hat Box. And while it had success in her own right, she did close those doors and swore off retail. Honest to God, she swore off retail, said she was never going to do it again. And then, of course, we had to reevaluate when the recession hit in 2008, 2009. What are we going to do? Okay, so opening up a store, 2010, and knowing our values. But again, we were living our values. They weren't wrapped up in some perfect brand statement. We looked at ourselves and said, how are we going to bring this to life with our customers? So we didn't want to write the rule book for customer service. We wanted to create something that we call the sister brother rule. So we launched our store with the sister brother concept. Very, very simple, very human centric. If your sister or your brother or mother or any other relative walked into your store, your room, your office, and asked you for something, you would go above and beyond to take care of the ones you love. So if we treat every person that walks into our stores, or every person that is online, or even in our with our wholesale partners, any partner or customer that comes in, you treat them with a level of respect, you go above and beyond to take care of them. Well, one, they're going to walk out happy, right? We can't control how they are or what's going on in their world when they come into our store. Right. But if we can go above and beyond to take care of them, whether they have a broken earring or whatever, we take care of them, then it also puts the power into the sales associates. They have the power to please. So it's a really, really simple, really simple. You go above and beyond to take care of the ones you love, and we extend that to our customer family.
Yeah, I think that's so awesome. And I think, kind of on the same line of thought, we were talking a little bit about just the fact that you don't have a handbook in terms of how employees, and retail employees kind of interact with customers in store. Can you kind of walk us through that decision what led to it, and then and how you do kind of maintain that consistent experience?
Well, just to clarify, we do have things written down now.
Oh yeah,
But,
it's not chaos.
but,
You guys are a very
but
buttoned up
for
company.
consistency
Yeah.
and scale, 2,000 plus employees, 120 stores, we do have things written down.
Yeah.
We didn't have things. Let's just say we didn't go through this process of putting our brand standards down on paper until 2015. And I know that sounds kind of funny and strange, but we were living our truths, and everything was done internally. We've never hired an external agency to do our branding and to kind of do the deduction of who are you or who do you want to be. We were living it. And then it became my job. It actually became very imperative that we did write things down. So I shifted my job and responsibility. It was like, okay, my number one priority for the next little bit is to really solidify that in a language that we were all, again, living, but put it into something that was tangible and real. And the core essence is our customers and our employees are the heart and soul of our brand. And that giving back is the truest form of success. When we look to our philanthropy and our give back and our culture of giving back, it is how we live our life. It's a place of generosity. And we go and extend that to our customers and their communities. And that it's a daily practice to keep our values alive. It is a part of the essence of who we are, how we approach problems, solve problems, how we look at scaling the business, how we look at our marketing approach is a 360. I like to call it our 360 marketing approach. If it touches on family, meaning we find ways to authentically connect with our customers, and we do that in a variety of different ways, to obviously giving them a really great product that they can engage with, that they can have fun with and play designer through our color bar or any of our customization, for instance, or providing product really for all pocketbook sizes and all styles and sizes, if you will. And then being able to give back and do that in really tangible ways. Anybody can host a Kendra Gives Back event in any one of our stores. You don't have to be a 501c3 in order to integrate or find a way to give back to the communities or the families or the ways in which you need to. We're here for you, and we let that be known to our customers. And then it creates this beautiful personalization meets purposeful connection. That is our success that leads to wonderful sales.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. That's awesome. And speaking on the philanthropy point, I mean, I'd love maybe for you to expound on what the company and the brand is doing from that standpoint, because it really struck me as just being an outlier. I mean, like it's
Sure.
gotta be, it's pretty special.
Sure. Well, again, one of our core pillars. So philanthropy has always been foundational to who we are. Again, back in the day when we were wholesale only business, we were based in Austin. I mean, we're still based in Austin, but everyone in Austin knew that they could call up Kendra Scott and we would give a donation of any, give them what we could, right? Whether it was donating our time, donating a piece of jewelry, giving money to organizations. But for the most part, we gave what we could, which was obviously we'd sit down, make the jewelry and give it to them. When we opened up our store, we had a community following. People were like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you have a store now. I've been purchasing your XYZ jewelry at different auctions. Thank you so much for donating to XYZ organization. Y'all have been such an amazing, oh my God, I'm so glad to come and help you back. And it had us go, wow, how do we scale this?
Yes.
So we continue to engage in and find ways to give back at a very customer one-on-one level to our larger programs that really ladder up to women and youth, supporting women and youth in health and education, entrepreneurship, and empowerment. So we've got some really large programs. In fact, coming up here in October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, as we all know. It's one of our largest focuses as a brand to be able to give back. We have been giving back to oncology centers for I'm not even sure how many years now that we've done this program, but we give gifts. We do a buy one, gift one program. And we gift jewelry, rose quartz jewelry with a handwritten note to each one of our communities and our oncology centers. So there's thousands and thousands of gifts that we give women and individuals going through some of the great challenges of their life. We have a wonderful organization that we've developed called the Kendra Cares Program, which is in over 30 hospitals nationwide. It is where we take the color bar, which is where you can custom design, custom create. Anybody can do that in store or online, can custom create a piece of jewelry, but we give that as a gift as a monthly program in over 30 pediatric hospitals nationwide. We volunteer. It is an arts therapy. It's developed into a true arts therapy program, and we host it. We serve the pediatric hospitals and the patients and their caregivers. And it is something that brings us so much joy to be able to give people going through such hard times and such traumatic times in their life a moment to think about something inspirational, to bring them joy, to have them connect. And it's such an amazing experience. But then we have our Kendra Cares, Kendra Gives Back, where, like I said, anybody, whether it's an organization or an individual who would like to create an event in our stores. We did over 14,000 events in our stores nationwide last year. And I mean, it's not only money that we do, but we personalize these events. And it's a part of that really purposeful connection that we're just honored to do. And it's been established. That's who we are. That's how we engage. And that's how we measure our success.
Yeah. I mean, 14,000 events, as someone who does a lot of events, is like,
it's a part of our infrastructure. We have events teams that is their job, is to engage authentically in the communities. And so it's an honor to do so.
That's awesome. So like, I mean, I love to take a step back and say like, how did you get here? So like, in terms of the, what were kind of like the early days? What was the founding team like? Kind of, did you know you had something that was going to be able to produce 14,000 events every year?
I mean, when you're young, you're just trying things out. No, of course. I mean, Kendra has always been this great visionary. I mean, entrepreneur extraordinaire. Anything is possible in her mind. So I wouldn't say that there was this like plan when we were all young and brilliantly foolish, right? Most of us didn't have degrees in the fields that we were in. I'm a self-taught graphic designer and, if you will, brand builder and marketer at this point. But with that also came a freedom where, from our perspective, anything truly was possible because we didn't have any rules that we were following. So with that, trusting our gut and doing what felt right, trying things out, saying yes when people asked us to give, it became just intrinsic in our DNA. Again, everything changed for us in 2010 because going from a wholesale and even just dipping our toes in e-com, it's still a really different world. As soon as you have a store, as soon as we had our store, we saw it as an opportunity to just go bigger, make a greater impact. We knew we wanted at that point, we had defined the language of our values as family, fashion, and philanthropy. But we sat down and were like, how can we do this differently? How can we show up? How can we be there and really be able to give back? Yes, monetary donations are amazing. Volunteer is incredible. And we have a very robust volunteer internally as well as externally programatics. And then again, getting involved with the communities and finding ways to integrate, again, showing up for our customers where and when and how they need us most, keeping that as an open conversation. That's how it all happened, right? And with every new opportunity, growth opportunity comes, okay, well, how do we scale that? How do we create an infrastructure that can support that? And I'll tell you, we do have what we call our marketing and philanthropic managers. across the company in the various districts, and their job is to bring to life our events. We're very events driven, and it's, yes, to give back to the communities, but also to create really fun and engaging ways to have fun together. Use our stores as a fabulous backdrop for, your bridal shower or your I mean, gosh, we've thrown parties for everything from dogs and babies and brides and all the fun things. It's again, we love to have fun. We are a very celebratory brand and culture that also just has a real heart for connection and giving back.
That's awesome. And just as you really, I mean, the company has reached a really impressive scale at this point. Are there, and you mentioned like deciding to open retail is like a huge pivotal moment. Were there any other like very, meaningful moments that you really could point to where we're like, oh, we really need to focus on our brand and our culture now because we're entering a new phase?
Well, I would definitely say specifically around those phases, I mean, we all faced a really traumatic moment in time a couple of years ago that we're all still dealing with the ripple effect, right? So I think one of those really important things that we were all as a brand culture trying to connect. How do we connect and make virtual meetings actually fun and engaging and not draining? And I think even honoring the fact that they are draining and acknowledging it for what it is. And we became really integrated into health and wellness from a mental wellness perspective. We integrated a lot of different internal programs, as well as realizing that that's where the whole world needed support. So we started working and finding ways in which we could participate with the Jed Foundation and a few other programs to really bring that to life. But for our people, it's funny, we love Halloween. Halloween is, if you will, our number one most fun internal experiences and events. It is an all-day play day with full-on competition. So teams would compete for awards and prizes, and I mean, it's kind of one of those like, you don't know until you've experienced an in-person Halloween. Well, so how do you do that virtually? Well, funny enough, I was actually the MC, so I've now got a persona. My Halloween persona comes out. But what was cool was that we had okay, how do we do this and have as much fun as possible? And so we created a virtual create your video submission, and everybody figured out. Everywhere from the finance team learned how to compile a fun video to, like, of course, the fabulous creatives going cuckoo bird and doing all kinds of stuff. But like having these things and knowing what was like core to us, we couldn't just be like, oh, well, we've just come up and show up in your costume on the day of. No, we were like, how do we bring this to life? So we did, and we've done the best that we possibly can, as I know people are, but we kept true to what was really important to us. And then we just used the new rules, right? The new rules of virtual reality, but in a fun way. It's been able to have us connect even more so. So I actually can't wait until Halloween of this year, where we're going to have this hybrid virtual meets real time meets live meets recording. That's what we're doing. We're all just figuring it out as we go along, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. No, Halloween is like such a great holiday. Are you guys, are you hybrid now? Are you remote? Has that been a challenge for you, especially in your role?
Yes, and yes. So, again, one of the great gifts of being a hybrid is to have a wonderful, even more expanded talent pool, right? So we do have a lot more remote individuals from all over the country that work at our home office. We are in our home office, and I wouldn't say we're like hybrid full-fledged. I mean, we do have 200 employees that come into the office now, but there's much more of a true flexibility. A community of flexibility is really kind of how we've always always been to support our family, you know, making sure if you're a parent, you go and are able to go to the soccer games and pick your kid up from school and all the things. Always been integrated into who we are. Now it's just even more flexible. But we love a great happy hour. We love a great celebratory moment. We just did this really great event for our fathers, Barbers and Bourbon, where they were getting haircuts and bourbon tastings. And we've got a game day event coming up next week, an internal tailgate that we're still wanting to bring to life that event. We're very events driven, both internally and externally. So how do we continue to do that, but also make them live and have recordings and find ways for people who can't make it and be there in person that can still connect. So we're figuring it out. I won't say it's figured out. It is a work in progress, but it's so important to make sure that everyone feels welcome and connected to the culture wherever they are.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, just as you're talking, and makes it sound like a really fun, awesome, like, trusting place to work.
Yeah.
So
we try. That's the intent.
Yeah. How do you onboard, new employees into your culture, and how do you think about that?
Well, it's an important one. I think one of the keys to it, besides, having them meet, onboarding for us comes even before people are hired. We have a very integrated, collaborative structure of you meet quite a few people before you're hired on. And I think that helps to showcase it's not just you meet one or two people and the recruiter and your potentially boss. It's much more robust. We have a culture team that you meet with as well. And we just really talk about values and how you lead, because leadership is so important. How you show up every day is more important than what you do when you show up. And so we want to make sure it's the right fit all around, both for the person coming on and for the team that exists. So it starts before that. And then I think what is really important to us and has always been important to us is empathy, and also experience putting ourselves in other departments and other channels' shoes. So we have new hires come and work in our store. The best way you get to know our customers is to go and be with them and help them pick out their fabulous XYZ gift or personal style. So we have everyone work in our stores. We have everyone work a shift in our distribution center, so they can also understand how important this group of individuals are in the whole grand infrastructure. And we have, even more importantly, and it's not just on the onboarding day, but it is there, but it's also encouraged throughout philanthropic days. So we have people come on board, and whether they volunteer at a Kendra Cares event or any one of our numerous philanthropic opportunities, we ensure that they are engaged in that service-oriented heart that is who we are, and that continues. And I think, again, having family meetings, which we do have. We also have executive leadership opportunities, Q&As and panels with our executive leadership on a regular basis. Like, that's really important, so people feel connected, not only to what we're doing, but to why we do what we do.
Would you say, like, as you're really managing or just leading the cultural initiative at Kendra Scott, like, are there certain like employee size like numbers? You're like, hey, once we hit 50, and then once we hit like 200, or are there ways that you think about it, like in terms of just size milestones for maybe any audience members who are growing their companies and trying
it's interesting.
Scale?
It's possible, and probably our chief people officer thinks in that way.
Yep.
I don't think in that way, and I will say every person matters. It doesn't matter if it's a part-time sales employee or the new CMO. How they are connected and integrated into our brand and culture is so important. Team bonding and team experiences, one-on-ones, and all of the things like that you really need to have to establish connection and trust. Like, that is so important, and we take really deep care in that process. So yes, do we meet challenges when there's 200 to 300? The tipping points have definitely across the organization. I would even say when we're going into new markets or scaling markets that don't necessarily maybe understand or aren't as integrated into, it's easier for us to open up, if you will, a Texas store or an Oklahoma store and find people that really understand who we are, even down in that kind of Southern, or as we moving up the Midwest. But it's like really engaging with individuals that maybe don't understand, or like, are y'all for real?
Yeah.
Are y'all actually as nice as you say you are? Do you actually care about giving back? Do you actually do what you say you're going to do? And you have to come on board and live it to know that it is true. But I think that that's even more important. It's that awareness and brand awareness. If you haven't experienced our brand, that we find a greater challenge, but it's also that great opportunity. We're like, yes, come hang out, come to our events, come get to know us. And that's probably, one of the greatest, again, challenges as we expand and grow, because we're on still quite a rapid growth rate, if you will.
You're pretty busy. That's awesome. And when you're actually looking at the culture you want to create for your customer, it seems like you say like it's equivalent, it's exactly the same as the culture you're creating for your employees. Are there any nuances, or you're like, hey, these are our pillars, this is what we're about?
Well, 100%, these are our pillars, and having that be educated, but in a tangible way that makes sense to the customer is really important. Now, they may not know that we believe in our sister brother rule, and that we believe in the power to please, and that we believe that wow customer service is the way to go. And we have like all of these philosophical ideas and trainings for our employees, that what they hopefully receive is just somebody who knows how to engage and be as present with them wherever they are when they come in those doors. Because we can't control how people show up. We can do everything to influence their experience with us as positive as possible. So that is, I think it's more so of how they are received by our sales associates and stylists and the team in general. I also think we're really thoughtful about, again, our family oriented, family first, also fun ways to engage with us and all the things, but it's also like our product, right? We want them to participate and have fun with us. That's why we had the color bar, right? This truly, like when we opened up our first store, and in every store, it's the hearth, it's the center of the store. And there's a high bar table where you come and sit down, and you're always offered something, whether it's a glass of lemonade or champagne or a beer for the guys, if they so desire it. We want them to come and stay. We want, you came into our home, if you will, come and stay a while and have some fun while you're there. Or our engraving and customization. We just launched engagement rings where you can customize an engagement ring. And so we're always looking to find new ways to engage with our customer, expanding into our Scott Brothers collection, which is a unisex collection, like just trying to continuously evolve with what our customer desires and wants, and hopefully provide them with things that didn't even know they wanted until they're with us. So that's really, really important, making sure that we have that accessibility. That's another way that we translate our family pillar, is to provide accessible styles and price points, and even the way in which you can wear things, down to like simplicity of veils. And again, trying to take the scary out of jewelry and make it really fun and dynamic. And then again, engaging with our customers. People get to know that we give back and that you can participate. Anyone who walks into our store can participate in any of our events and host an event to give back to the organization of their choice. And we're there to bring that up to life personally for them. We personalize events. We go above and beyond to take care of our customers. And if they're going to trust us to bring their friends and family in to throw an event, we're going to go the extra mile to make it worthwhile for them. So that's the experience that we bring to life for our customers. And while it's different and nuanced, it is, I hope, something that our customers really enjoy. They seem to.
Well, speaking of engaging with customers, I'd be remiss as the CEO of an influencer marketing company to not bring up an extremely engaging time of year. 'Tis the season for Bama Rush TikTok, or Rush TikTok in general.
Yeah.
I think that for
Tis
any
the
audience,
season.
'tis the season. I was just on your TikTok account, and the social media team is like, like lifting weights in the
We're
gym,
in
being
it.
like, we're ready for it. It's so cute. And just, I'd love for you to maybe talk a little bit more about this new holiday for your brand, because I think it's just become such an awesome example of how you are engaging with your customers, for people who maybe don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have built a business around being very thoughtful, especially when in finding new locations, retail locations. We love universities. I mean, we have a huge give back with the Kendra Scott Women's Entrepreneurial Leadership Institute at the University of Texas in our own backyard here in Austin. But it's really important for us to engage with that, with universities and sororities, and really participate. It's always been a part of who we are. So we find locations. We've got a gym ambassador program. It's a lot of fun. We engage with that community. Back to school has always been fun for us, but I will tell you, I mean, Rush Talk, that also kind of came to life for us organically last year. So we participated, right? We were doing all of these things, developing our gym ambassador program, but it was Tuesday night, August 10th last year, and everything shifted. We are, our amazingly talented and on it internal team, social team is just like, wow, we're seeing a trend here. Are y'all seeing this? We're seeing this. And immediately was like, how do we engage? So we started being jumping into the conversation and creating the opportunities to like meet them where they were at. And what mattered most to them was hashtag Bama Rush, straight up. Oh. So we literally overnight, we're like, okay, we're going to create our own video to talk back and participate with them in conversation. So we did this video called Choose Your Bama Rush Jewelry Look. And it just kept going. It kept it going. And then they were like, who doesn't want to be acknowledged by the brand that you're talking about, right? So that was like so fun for them. And we were like, oh my gosh, thanks for talking about us. We're here for you. And it really it just took off. I mean, Kendra did videos just saying, thank you so much and high five. And oh my gosh, your style is so great. So she participated in the conversation and it just developed into what it was, which was incredible, right? So knowing what we know now, we leaned into engaging with our back to school conversation. It started a couple of weeks ago. We got ahead of it and we had this whole strategy, still have this whole strategy to engage even more so. I mean, even down to like getting our wholesale partners with some of the other local businesses in Alabama to like really partner in a whole different way. So it was just like, you don't know it's what can happen. And then you're like in it, and you get into that strategy, you get into that creativity and you find ways to engage in the conversation. And, now it's turned into a whole Bama Rush strategy and back to school strategy.
I know. Yeah. I'd really encourage anyone in the audience, any marketers to really check out what's happening on TikTok around Alabama Rush. Basically, last year it went, the whole process of sorority rush at the University of Alabama went completely viral. There were a few main characters like Michaela and a few others who were like actively being followed through who were filming themselves going through the entire rush process. And there were a lot of Kendra Scott call outs in terms of, Kendra Scott was very, very well represented in terms of actually participating. And then the Kendra Scott team did a fantastic job capitalizing on that very viral moment and really authentically engaging. So I wanted to, give you guys props for that.
Thanks.
Oh, let's see here. Yeah, do we have time for one more question? I would love to. Hey, Jamie.
Hi, I'll keep continuing if you'd like.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, cool.
go for it. You have a couple more minutes.
Yeah, I just love to maybe ask one more, more personal question, Cheryl. Do you have any advice to young women who are maybe starting out their careers in general or in marketing specifically? And what would you tell them?
Well, I am a self-taught graphic designer, brand marketer at this point, right? You don't need a business degree or even a degree to be successful. You need a lot of passion and a lot of grit, and a lot of just desire to learn about the industry, learn from whether it be networking and or simply trying and diving in and whether it be self-taught or whatnot. I love higher education. You can get that type of education in a variety of different ways. There's so much, but don't be limited by, if you will, your experience or your lack of experience. Just lean in, follow your passion, and do more every day that makes you happy. Follow that, trust your gut, and follow that joy. That's really what I've done, mixed with just a fearless leader that's like, stratosphere kind of a gal at the helm. But really, I think too, mixed with that passion and just try and engage and find ways to learn new skills. Agility is really important. I think that their concrete plans rarely work. In fact, I'm not even the best planner. I'm a strategist, but I don't necessarily like dream into the next 3 years of my life in a very concrete way. I believe in setting an intention and then knowing that the universe is conspiring in your favor at all times. Very optimistic viewpoint of life that I truly believe has gotten me where I am. Believe enough in yourself to just show up and shift and change and iterate and be agile, but keep knowing that the universe is here for you. And I think the only other piece is make a quest for self-knowledge your lifelong quest. It'll come in so many different ways, learning your skills and your strengths, but most importantly, or even more importantly, understanding your weaknesses and being able to communicate that can help with any conversation that you have with a team member or with a boss or even with a potential opportunity. Just make that your lifelong, devote to self-awareness, because that helps you as you become more clear about who you are, what you stand for. You're also able to say, hey, this isn't what I want, but it brings a level of consciousness into your interactions with others. When you become more conscious, your conversations become more conscious, thus leading to better engagement and better empathy and ultimately better success. So take it for what you want, but I do believe that those elements are really, really have been key to my success over the years.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's so fitting. That's great. Thank you so much.